Hello friends, welcome to the Toefl reading section guide. In this particular section, we'll be covering the types of the questions that are particularly asked by the Toefl examination. This is presented to you by AES. Let's have a look at the questions, the different categories of the questions. So the reading questions given by the Toefl examination can be broken down into different reading question categories. So these are the particular categories that we'll be covering in this particular lesson. The questions where they ask about vocabulary, they can ask you the synonym of the word. They can ask you to find the word with similar or opposite meaning. Reference questions, inference questions, questions with a particular purpose, negative factual information, essential information, detail questions, or just to insert a particular sentence. So you don't need to worry because these categories, they may seem a bit difficult, but they are very easy. And you might have done these type of questions from the reading passages in your elementary or high school also. So let's have a look at the first category, that's the detail questions. As you can read from the first line or first few words of the question, according to paragraph 1, so this makes you clear in your mind that you just have to go through the first paragraph in order to find the answer of this particular question. Okay, which of the following is true of the late Cretaceous climate? So our keyword over here is late Cretaceous climate. And in order to find out which of these four options are correct, we need to skim through the entire paragraph. So let's move forward. Paleontologists have argued for a long time. Okay, so while reading, you just need to keep in mind the facts that come related to late Cretaceous climate. Okay. Paleontologists have argued for a long time that the demise of the dinosaurs was caused by the climatic alterations associated with slow changes in the positions of the continents and seas resulting from plate tectonics. Off and on through the Cretaceous, here comes our keyword, the last period of Mesozoic era, during which the dinosaurs flourished, large shallow seas covered extensive areas of the continent. Data from diverse sources, including geochemical evidence preserved in seafloor sediments, indicate that the late Cretaceous climate was milder than today's. So these are the facts that are coming. Then you can also, while going through the passages, you can also have a look at the options. Summers were very warm, winters were cold. Shallow seas on the continents caused frequent temperature changes. The climate was not very similar to today's climate. The climate did not change dramatically from season to season. So the C point, we can easily cancel this point because here it's given that the climate was very similar to today's climate, but here it's given that it was milder than today's. The days were not too hot, nor the nights were too cold. So that cancels our A option because that's exactly like it's contradicting what's given in the passage. The summers were too warm, nor the winters were too frigid. The shallow seas on the continents probably buffer the temperature of the nearby air, keeping it relatively constant. So we need to look again. Shallow seas of the continents caused frequent temperature changes. Here it's stating what exactly opposite of what's given in the passage. It's stating that the temperature changes, but here it's given that the temperature, it remains constant. The climate did not change dramatically from season to season. So that's the soul of what's given in the entire passage, the facts related to the late Cretaceous climate. So the answer would be D. So you don't have to worry that only in particular detail questions you need to skim through the entire passage. Some of the questions like vocabulary questions or reference questions, you can find out the answers in 4 to 5 seconds. Let's move on to the second question. Which of the following reasons is suggested in paragraph 2? So you make this clear in your mind that you just have to go through the second paragraph. For the extinction of the dinosaurs. So again, it's a detailed question because we have to skim through the entire passage in order to find these sentences and in order to find that the reason for the extinction of the dinosaurs. So let's move forward. So our key term is extinction of the dinosaurs. How did they how did they go extinct? At the end of the Cretaceous period, the geological record shows that these seaways retreated from the continents back into the major ocean bins. So no one knows why. So this is not majorly related to the extinction of dinosaurs. Meanwhile, while going through the passage, you can also have a look at the options that have been given you over here. So you can easily cancel out a Seaway's point because that's nowhere related to dinosaurs. I mean, not closely related. Over a period of about 100,000 years, while the seas pulled back, climates around the world became dramatically more extreme. Warmer days, cooler nights, hotter summers, colder winters. So perhaps dinosaurs could not tolerate these extreme temperature changes and became extinct. So the major reason why dinosaurs became extinct is because of the temperature change. So let's look at this wide term like temperature change in the answers. Changes in the lengths of the days and nights, this nowhere related to temperature, so we'll again cancel this out. The change from mild to severe climates during the late Cretaceous period. Yes, this is somewhat related to temperature, so we'll keep this option on hold. An extreme decrease in the averagely yearly temperature over 10,000 years. So the facts are even wrong in this option, and also just not because of the decrease but because of the wider term of the temperature changing from normal to very severe. So we'll again cancel this option out and our correct answer is C. So question 1 and question 2, they are the detailed questions. In detailed questions, they ask you about the information that's specifically stated in small part of the passage. So in order to find out that particular information, you need to skim through the entire passage. And they'll generally focus on the who, what, when, where, and why, as explained by the author. So just keep in mind while going through a detailed question, you'll know when it's the detailed question. Easiest hint, the options will not be of one word or one or two words. Okay, it will be of an entire sentence. That's when you know that it's a detailed question and you need to go through the entire passage. Moving on to the second category, that's a purpose questions. Purpose questions require you to understand why the author has included the pieces of information. So the answer is not directly stated in the reading passage. You need to find out. So let's have a look at the question. Why does the author mention the survival of snakes, lizards, turtles, and crocodiles? So this will be our keyword over here. Okay. Snakes, lizards, turtles, and crocodiles. And we need to find out like the reason why they are being mentioned over here. Again, we'll keep in mind the keyword and the basic reason like the survival of snakes, lizards, and these reptiles. Why is author mentioning them? We'll keep in mind this while reading the passage, and then we can also side by side look at the options. If true, though, why did cold-blooded animals such as snakes, lizards, turtles, and crocodiles survive the freezing winters and torrid summers? So that's again in the continuation of the last paragraph. We studied over there that the dinosaurs became extinct due to the extreme temperatures, right? So why, like, are you getting the brief idea, the generalized topic, what is how the passages are moving? Okay. These animals are at the mercy of the climate to maintain a livable body temperature. It's hard to understand why they would not be affected, whereas dinosaurs were left to crippled to cope, especially if, as some scientists believe, dinosaurs were warm-blooded, and these are snakes and lizards, turtles, these are cold-blooded, right? Critics also point out that the shallow seaways had retreated from and advanced on the continents numerous times during the Mesozoic. So why did the dinosaurs survive the climatic changes associated with the earlier fluctuations but not with this one? And with this one, we are referring to the cold-blooded animals. Although initially appealing, the hypothesis of simple climatic change related to sea levels is insufficient to explain the data. So we'll cancel out the sea level climatic change. And as you can see, like whenever this question arises, why the survival of this is possible, first 2-3 lines will be in support of, like, you can read these animals were at the mercy of the climate to maintain a livable body temperature. This will, first few lines will explain the characteristics of the cold-blooded animals or of the subject matter of the previous sentence, and then it will eventually come to the main reason. Okay, so critics also point out that the shallow sea ways, so this is where the major point comes in, that it has, like, basically the author is relating the dinosaurs, the extinction of dinosaurs, with the cold blooded animals, right? So we can keep this wider term in our mind, and then we have our answer in the back of our mind, and then we'll just check with the options. To argue with the dinosaurs may have become extinct because they were not cold blooded animals, that's not the exact answer, because this has to do something with the climatic change. Okay, so we'll keep the broader term climatic change and relating to dinosaurs in our mind, and then look at the answer. So we'll simply cancel out this point. To question the adequacy of the hypothesis that the climatic change related to sea levels caused the extinction of the dinosaurs. So both of our points, extinction of the dinosaurs and the climatic change, are coming, so we'll keep this option on hold. Third point, to present examples of animals that could maintain a livable body temperature more easily than dinosaurs. Again, we had the answer at the back of our mind, that climatic change and extinction of dinosaurs. Both of these points are not coming in this particular option. And the same goes with the last point. So answer is option B, but the major concern of what is being taught over here is that first of all, you need to keep like whenever you skim through the passage, in order to find the reason, you need to find the reason and keep the broad reason at the back of your mind, and then search in the options but the answers which are parallel to what you have already kept in mind. Secondly, TOEFL is an algorithm-based test. That means that no person is going to is going to check your test. It is going to be checked by the computer itself. So it's better if you find out the particular words that are given in the passage in your answers, because that's how the algorithm will work, and this will not only help you in reading but also in speaking, listening as we move forward. So the detailed questions and the purpose question, they both revolve around the same thing. In order to solve these type of questions, you need to understand the main point of the paragraph, and that you can only do by skimming through the entire paragraph, and how the referenced information is related to the main point of the paragraph. So how do you do that? By keeping the paragraph, by reading the passage and parallelly keeping in mind the options. Okay, so you'll see the question phrased something like the following, like, why does the offer mention? So in the purpose question, most of the time it's answered, it's questioned with why, asking for a reason, and then you need to find the particular reason by going through the entire passage. Next category is vocabulary question, that is like in which you are asked what a word or phrase is closest in meaning to, and you are provided with 4 answer options, and you need to be able to understand the meaning of the word as it is used in the passage. Okay, so again, third passage, it's the same passage given as in the purpose question. So the word cope in the passage is closest in meaning to. We need to find cope, it's already underlined. So the dinosaurs were left too crippled to cope. So first thing that comes to my mind is to adhere. They can, you know, adapt themselves to the situation. So that's the answer over here, adapt. And vocabulary question, as I've told you before also, you can find the answer in 4 to 5 seconds. They are quite easy. Fifth question, the word fluctuations in the passage is closest in meaning to. So why did the dinosaurs survive the climatic changes associated with the earlier fluctuations? And you know, the earlier fluctuations is the fluctuations that are caused in the weather, in the climate, right? So like the climate wavers badly, that's why the dinosaurs became extinct. So the answer is variations. And we'll be providing you with a guide of the words that frequently come, so you'll get a better idea of how to answer these type of questions. Essential information questions. In these questions, you'll see the question, you see an entire sentence highlighted in the reading passage, and the question will ask you to choose which of the four answer option sentences is equal to the highlighted sentence. Okay, so let's have a look at the sentence. Which of the sentences below best expresses the essential information in the highlighted sentence in paragraph 4? Incorrect choices change the meaning in important ways or leave out essential information. So that means that it can have more than one answer. But okay, so let's have a look at the underlined sentence. Many plants and animals disappear abruptly from the fossil recorded as one moves from the layers of rock documenting at the end of Cretaceous into rocks presenting the beginning of Cenozoic, thereafter Mesozoic. Okay, so this basically revolves around the plants and animals which disappear out of nowhere from the fossil as the rocks changes from Cretaceous to Mesozoic to Cenozoic. So we'll search for the keywords plants and animals or few like fossils and then look for the answers. So the fossil record suggests that there was an abrupt extinction. Yeah, so abrupt extinction, they disappear abruptly. So you can relate the words that are given in the passage to the words that are given in the options, and whichever lie closest, you should correctly answer that particular option because the algorithm will catch that. So an abrupt extinction of many plants and animals at the end of Mesozoic era. So that's almost what has been stated over here. So we'll keep that on hold. Let's move on to the second option. Few fossils of the Mesozoic era have survived in the rocks that mark the end of the Cretaceous. This again, it is not up to the mark because they do not. This particular option does not bring out the actual meaning of what is being stated in the highlighted sentence. So we'll cancel this out. Then again in the option C, it is given have been removed from the layers of the rock that surrounded them. And that's again nowhere given in this particular sentence. So you just need to keep your answers as close to what has been given in the particular passage. Again, in option D, unable to survive, that's nowhere given in the sentence because they abruptly disappear. They go extinct without any knowledge. So we don't know if they couldn't survive or if they are removed from there. So that's not is what's happening in the particular sentence. So we'll mark the option A as the correct option because it's closest to what is being asked. Okay. So again, in this, there's only one correct answer. So I'll again explain to you what you have to do exactly in essential information question. You'll see the question, you see an entire sentence highlighted in the reading passage as it's given, right? And then it will ask you to answer like one out of the four options, which is equal to the highlighted sentence. So that's why like disappear abruptly and there was an abrupt extinction of the many plants. So this is very close to what is being stated, right? So correct sentence will be paragraphed so it is different than the highlighted one, but still convey all the important information. Yeah, it's also the complete answer. Nowhere like these three options are the incomplete answers. So incorrect sentences will represent a detail or concept inaccurately, leave out an important detail, change the original meaning of the sentence. You can again pause what's going on in the video and read the question by yourself and try to answer it yourself. That will help you a lot. Moving further to a negative factual information question. In this, you can recognize a negative, like what's the best way to find out if the question is negative factual? It's by accept or not. Again, these type of questions, you don't need to remember them. You just need to remember the strategy to find the answers to particular categories of the questions. Okay. So coming back to negative factual information, you can recognize a negative factual information question by either the word not or except in the question. The question can appear like the following, like according to a passage, which of the following is not true? In paragraph 4, all of the questions are answered except. So that's a negative factual information question. So again, we have to skim through the entire passage in order to find out these questions, like if they're answered or not. Let's again follow the same strategy, read on the passage while keeping in mind the question. And this time you can pause the video and try to answer the question yourself. Otherwise, I'll move forward. Dissatisfaction with the conventional explanations for dinosaur extinctions led to a surprising observation that in turn has suggested a new hypothesis. I can see in option C, surprising observation scientists made. What was the effect of this? So the effect was they suggested a new hypothesis. So this question is answered. So we'll cancel out this option. Many plants and animals disappear abruptly from the fossil record as one moves from the layers of Cretaceous to Cenozoic. Between the last layer of Cretaceous rock and the first layer of Cenozoic rock, there is often a thin layer of clay. Scientists felt that they could get an idea of how long. So I can find this question over here, how long it took to deposit. Why were the scientists interested? Because they wanted uh, they thought that they could determine the time it took to deposit the clay by determining the amount of the element iridium it contained. So again, this question is asked. I will cancel this out. Why did the scientists want more information about the dinosaur extinction at the end of the Cretaceous? Again, it's answered in this particular segment of the passage. Why is there a layer of clay between the rocks of Cretaceous and Cenozoic? There's this line given over here explaining that there's a thin layer of clay, but nowhere above this line or below this line the reason has been stated. So this question has not been answered. So we'll mark this as the answer. Okay, so you just need to follow the cancelling out of the options and then finding the answer strategy in this negative factual information question. Inference question. Paragraph 5 implies that a special explanation of the IAR iridium element that we studied in the last question in the boundary clay is needed because that's again asking the candidate to find a reason. So in that also we need to go through the entire paragraph. You can pause the video and find the answer yourself. Otherwise, we'll move forward, follow the same drill. IR has not been common at Earth's surface since the very beginning of the planet's history because it usually exists in a metallic state. It was preferentially incorporated in Earth's core as the planet cooled and consolidated. IR is found in high concentrations in some meteoroids in which the solar system's original chemical composition is preserved. Even today, microscopic meteoroids continually bombard Earth, falling on both land and sea. By measuring how many of these meteoroids fall to Earth over a given period of time, scientists can estimate how long it might have taken to deposit the observed amount of IR in the boundary clay. These calculations suggest that a period of about 1 million years would have been required. However, other reliable evidence suggests that the deposition of the boundary clay could not have taken 1 million years. So these 2 points are contradicting themselves. So the usually high concentration of EIR seems to require a special explanation. The reasons are given in bits and tits over here. So what happens in inference question, you'll see the question phrased something like the following in paragraph 5. What does the author imply? That's given particularly over here in this example, or else what can be inferred from paragraph 5, like what's the conclusion. In this type of question, the answer is not directly stated in the reading passage. It requires you to draw conclusions based on the information that is given in the passage. So you need to find the correct conclusion from the choices which depicts the entire information. So the correct answer over here is D. The amount of IR in the boundary clay is too great to have come from microscopic meteoroids during the time the boundary was deposited. As I told you, the answer was in tits and bit. And once you practice the inference, purpose and detail question, like you go through the questions or the model tests or the mock tests that are given on the ETS website or on any other website or sample papers, then you'll get an idea how to answer these questions, because all that, like, major thing here is to skim through the passage as quickly as possible, so it saves time, and that can only be achieved by practicing more. Let's move further on the second category, that is sentence insertion question. What happens in these type of questions, that you will be asked to decide where a new sentence best fits into the reading passage. So like you're given options over here and options in the passage. You just need to figure out where this particular sentence that's highlighted will go, like is best suited to go in particular options. Okay, this question type tests your understanding of the logic in the passage. It also tests your ability to understand the grammatical connections from one sentence to another. So we know this sentence, this passage revolves around the special explanation why the IR, like high concentration of this. Let's first of all go through the question. In paragraph 5 of the passage, there is a missing sentence. The paragraph is repeated below and shows 4 letters A, B, C, D that indicate where the following sentence could be added. So sentences, consequently, the idea that the IR in the boundary clay came from microscopic meteoroids cannot be accepted. So as I've told you before, the contradictory points, right? So these are given like the critics have mentioned, right? That the calculation suggest what is the like this is not accepted. This is also suggested. So these are not firm facts. These are just the ideologies that have been given, right? Calculations suggest a period of about 1 million years. However, the reliable evidence suggests, so A and B, these sentences are connected, so we cannot put this particular sentence before A or before B. But and we cannot put it at the end, because this also provides a reason why we require a special explanation. Okay, so we'll put this reason before the wider term, that is the explanation that consists of both this sentence and this sentence. So correct answer to put this particular sentence will be in the option C, because the wider term is special explanation and these three are the ideologies that come with it. Reference question, these are the easy type of questions belonging from the same category of vocabulary questions. These require you to answer, like in this kind of questions you are asked what the highlighted word refers to. If it's a pronoun, then you need to identify what word the pronoun is replacing. Okay, so you just need to recognize the keyword. The word those in paragraph 1 refers to, and those, the word is over here. So let's read this sentence. If the answer is not given in this particular sentence, then we'll go back one step and read the sentence that's previous to it. Over time, beneficial traits and characteristics that promote survival will be kept in the gene pool, while those that harm survival will be selected against. So like basically we are moving like beneficial traits and characteristics and those that harm. So the traits that benefit and traits that harm. So those represent traits and characteristics. So that's the answer. So these are all the type of the questions that will be asked. The best way is you don't need to like learn these type of questions. You just need to recognize which question is of which category and just follow the strategy. And you won't even need to memorize the strategy if you practice a lot. So the best key, the easiest way to score the highest marks is to practice.